Welcome to Talk Around Riyadh, the Wheel of Time showcast. I am your host, Joe Perry, here with my co-hosts, Jen Isgro and Tom Kokoza. How you doing tonight, Jen?
I'm doing good. Had a nice day today. It was the third grade Christmas play for my daughter, so we got
Ooh.
to go and see that.
Was
That was
she
fun.
what did she play a role in this Christmas play, like a
She was
specific role?
one of the narrators, so she had like a little part to say, and then they sang songs, and it was very nice.
Oh, awesome. Awesome. That sounds fun. My daughter had a chorus concert the other night too. That
Oh,
was kind of
okay.
it was very quick. I was very pleased.
Yeah,
It was literally
it was
like
like
20
20
minutes.
minutes. Yeah,
Yeah. I was
that's
like,
all we can sit for. That's
this is
it.
awesome. Uh, Tom, how you
Good.
doing?
I'm all right. My son is doing a little Christmas concert next week, but like parents aren't even allowed to go. It's just for the other kids in the school.
Aw,
That's
That's fun.
BS. What's up with that? Did they send you a video or something? Are you like,
No, I don't think we're gonna get a video of it. He's gonna sing two songs. Gonna do a little dance for both of them. That's it. He's only in kindergarten.
that's
I've heard him
selfish.
sing.
That's
All right.
selfish of them.
maybe are they
Got a
letting
private
parents in
concert.
the
I'm okay.
school again, or is that why, or they just
I have no
it's
idea
just
why,
not for
but
parents? So.
I'm not. I'm not broken up about it. Really.
You don't
I
want to
remember
do
I
how
hope
anything
I
I
then.
hope
was
your
into things
son
like
doesn't
that.
listen to this podcast. It's Tom.
He
He's
knows.
listening right now at the top of the stairs
Tom,
crying.
you know Phil and Chris Henney are listening to this and are very disappointed in you.
That's true. Well,
They're
you know,
moving you down the
look,
chart, like this picture
I
of you on
can't
the chart moving down.
like there's certain parents. I feel like I can compete with some parents. I am not competing with the Hennies. I'm not even worried about that. They're playing. I'm in rookie ball compared to them. No, I want to be clear.
You're in T-ball,
I
Tom. You're T-ball compared to them.
um no, I encourage and have practiced with my son and love watching him sing and love watching him learn how to do the dances and all the rest of that stuff. I'm all in on that. I don't care about the other kids. I don't need to see them. I know how it's going to sound. Sorry, guys.
Those are your son's friends.
But
You should probably get to know them
All right,
and their
let's
parents.
let's stop Tom from talking before he continues to berate little children unnecessarily.
you're putting words in my mouth. This is not berating children. This is me not having any kind of I don't know. I'm not gilding the lily about how a kindergarten choral performance is going.
Never heard that phrase in my life. Gilding the
Kindergarten.
lily?
Oh.
No, gilding the lily? What does that mean?
It means I'm not trying to pretend that most kindergarten choral performances are really, really good, and I'm really sad that I'm gonna miss this one. Like,
Skeeter was just saying, I don't hate kids, I just don't like them, is what I'm hearing.
I like Rara said, gilding the lily sounds like an inn. I think it sounds like a sword form.
It's definitely a sword form or an in Wheel of Time.
Yeah.
Put it in there, Jordan. Let's go. Let's go.
Oh, he
Let's
can't.
retcon and put it in there.
it's
All right.
gonna be the next one of the games we play. Like we could say,
Yeah,
sword
gilding the
form or
lily.
not.
Remember that one?
Gilding the Lily. Let's
I
do
feel
it.
like that's I thought that was not a common phrase, but I thought that was a phrase that people do.
I don't know.
So
Anyway.
common, no one's heard of it. All right, we actually want to finish our What Origins journey today, so let's move on. We've got a lot to talk about, including What Origins. But before we get into all of that, Jen, I know there's some exciting things happening, so give it to us. We're ready for you.
Oh, the weather outside is frightful, but this podcast is so delightful. And since you've no place to go, it's what's happening.
Oh, it kind of ended on a low note there.
Oh, sorry. Tonight is a very special what's happening. We are going full hashtag hen news.
All right, we got hens galore in this one, right?
Well, one hen, but a harrowing tale. Let me set the scene for you. It's a cold winter's night at the Howland house when Juliet hears an urgent knock at the door. All healing prayers are needed for this little girl. It's a hen. Just let me preface that before I tell the story. Tonight, I love
Wait. It would have been better if you didn't, just because the next line.
I know.
read the next line and imagine, listeners, imagine it's a child. And Jen, read the next line.
Okay. Tonight, a lovely young couple brought her to the door in a box. She had been hit by a... It's not funny. It's not funny, making it funny. Okay. We're starting over. All healing prayers are needed for this little girl. Tonight, a lovely young couple brought her to the door in a box. She had been hit by a car on the main road nearby. She'd run across one lane only to be hit by the car on the other.
Wait. First question to ask.
You don't gotta ask it, Joe.
Why did the chicken cross the road?
This isn't supposed to be funny.
I'm sorry. It's just, you're setting it all up, Jen. Unfortunately, I didn't read this before, so this is all new to me, and I can't help it.
Well, then you're gonna keep laughing probably, but okay. And without the driver knowing, she had then traveled up by the grill in the front of the car in the plastic bit on fast roads for over a mile.
What?
He only discovered her when he stopped. Yes, I'm telling you.
So wait. So they hit the hen. The hen got stuck in the grill for a mile?
Yes. And then he stopped and saw her. Okay. How on earth she's still alive is a miracle. To avoid dying having been hit by a car is one thing, but then to survive such a journey too? Extraordinary. I raced her up to my amazing vet, all bird flu precautions taken, and no obvious injuries, just a little cut on her comb. She might have internal injuries, but I hope not. She's had a painkiller and only time will tell. She ate some food, so that's a good sign. She's gorgeous. So now it's a matter of finding her owner. But there's a good chance she might have fallen off a truck, maybe on her way to slaughter, which would mean she's staying.
This is like a Disney story right here, right?
I mean,
like a hen's tale.
Nice, yeah.
Well, I don't know if the Disney story would include the hen being
maybe
stuck in a grill going
maybe
dragged
chicken
a
run
60
mile.
miles an hour.
Right?
What'd you say, Tom?
Chicken Run 3?
Chicken run. Okay, there's a few pictures of the miracle hen with this post. Now on to post number 2. This was a couple hours later, or the next morning, I guess. She's still alive. I still cannot believe what she's been through.
No, I'm sorry.
I'm laughing at what I know you're gonna laugh.
Mayhem posted exactly what I was thinking of is the Grindhouse Death Proof with her riding on the car, on the hood of the car.
So, wait, she still smells of burnt rubber. She's so beautiful, and what a face, and no takers yet. Of all the hen news, this is the most extraordinary to date. So another picture of the beautiful hen, her yellow hen eyes staring deeply into your soul. The story's not over. Post number 3. This extraordinary little girl lay an egg this morning. I think she might have been dumped. I brought a bag of straw in for her bed, and she was petrified. Maybe she was put in a bag and dumped by the road. No claim on her yet. The mystery continues.
So who puts a hen in a bag and then dumps it by the road? Why don't you just put it put it down? Like, why would you put it in a bag?
Because people do that with like dogs and cats all the time. Like
they put them in bags,
and
like
a garbage bag. Yeah.
Alive?
Yes.
I've never read an article about a dog being put in a
like puppies, not like a full-grown dog.
I've heard of, to be honest, I've heard of babies that happening to babies, but not like dogs.
It's the same.
That too, but yes, babies that nobody wants, puppies.
It makes it easier for you not to look at them when you're going to cruelly leave them out in the world.
The guilt.
So there's more pictures of Juliet with her new hen and the lady of the hour posing by the fireplace and with her egg. I sincerely hope this hen has a happy ending and a wonderful Christmas holiday in a loving home. Rest assured, we will update you on this story as it develops.
Wow, this is a crazy story.
That's why I had to dedicate an entire what's happening to it.
This is an amazing hen. If it were to have a Wheel of Time themed name,
I already was thinking the same thing. I didn't come up with one though. Has to be like a girl who like goes to like hell and back, or like
Egwene. But we already have.
We already had an Egwene.
We already have an Egwene. Like, what other character had like
I don't know, like
a harrowing journey?
And it has to lend itself to a hen. Like, has to have hen kind of.
I mean, Fael and them were captured by the
I thought of that, or like Morghese.
Yeah, Fael is who I was thinking of.
Morghese. Oh, Morghese is a good one, but yeah. I don't know how. Brocchidian? Oh, that's bad.
You can't.
Hen
You can't
Dane.
suggest evil hen names.
I
They
mean,
have to be
Moraine is a good one too, right? But I don't know how you work that into a hen name. Henrain? I don't know.
Henry, Morhaine.
No, I
I
don't
don't
know.
know.
Anyway, an amazing
Okay.
story, Jen.
Yeah, so
I'm glad I didn't peek ahead.
let's end it on a high note. Back to you, Joe.
Oh, well, I'm sorry I don't have anything high to go to, except for, yes, it's continuing. It's time. We had a scare this week, everybody. We'll talk about it in a minute.
Oh, we did?
Welcome back to another edition of Where's What Origins. Now, we have some news, but it's not news about Where's What Origins, but we did have a potential scare. Tom, do you want to talk a little bit about this? Do you know what I'm talking about?
No, are you saying we had a potential scare that last week that might be the last segment of this thing? Is that what you're talking about? That
Yes,
it's
yes.
not. Yeah.
Yes.
So we had talked last week on our last episode about the fact that we actually had a lead. That there was a potential for an announcement as to when where Wild Origins will be released, because Dragon Mount had continued their rewatch party by doing What Origins. And they had teased a big announcement at the end of doing the What Origins rewatch, and we had theorized that their big announcement could be, hey, they could be announcing when What Origins season 2 or the last episode of season 1, whichever, when that was coming out. That wasn't the case. That was not the big announcement. So we still don't know, Joe.
Yeah, so for those of you who were worried and concerned that this segment would be over, fear not, because it lives on. For how long, I don't know. So treasure every moment.
I have to admit, I think I enjoy this segment more than I did What Origins. So
It's certainly much longer.
I think I would trade this segment. I would trade What Origins never ever coming out for this segment.
Wow.
The joy. What Origins was okay, but the joy I have in this segment is more joy than that brought me. That's all I'm gonna say.
Wow.
What?
Those are strong words.
I really liked What Origins. I do want to see more of that. But I understand where Jen's coming from, because Joe has said, I think on air, like on these episodes, but definitely to us, off air, that when we know when What Origins is coming out, when we know when it is, this music ends. Like, this stops. We're not going to reuse that music for something else.
No,
And that kills me.
I know.
So,
I know.
yeah. Well, you could always go back and listen to the old episodes. So there it is. We're safe for another, I don't know, however many days, weeks, months it is before we find out when What Origins is coming out. So have no fear. I assume we'll be back next week with another edition of Where's What Origins, but who knows? The holidays are coming up, and maybe we'll get a treat or a present. But for now, that's the end. This is the end of today's Where's What Origins segment. All right, let's get into some news, because we do have some news to talk about. We actually have a few different things I'd like to talk about, and some of them have to do with some pictures that were posted online. And I won't say who posted them, because this person doesn't like to be named as a source for the pictures being posted. But if you watch what's happening, What Up? John from What Up did a video about these two images that were leaked onto the internet. You can go watch his video to take a look at them. I'm not going to share them, but I will describe them. So there's one of them is a photo. It looks like a night shoot of some trees out in the wilderness, and it's captioned "Pretty photo from that Italian village where some filming occurred for season 2." So this is purported. I'm going to pronounce it correctly. Dana Lou's listening. To be from the Wheel of Time set. If you look at the photo, right, they're out in the wilderness. There's some beautiful looking trees. There's some lanterns hanging from the trees. On the right side looks to be some sort of man-made, almost cave-like structure. On the left side, there are some tents, though I don't know if that's actually part of the set or not. There are some barrels lying around there. Jen and Tom, you both have seen these photos, or this photo in particular. Did you have any thoughts on if it was for season 2, what it could be?
The trees are pretty big.
Yeah, they're beautiful. Very wide trunks. Do you think those tents are part of the set? They're
It
white.
looks like they are.
They're white tents, but
Yeah,
they're not like the White Cloak looking tents, for sure.
yeah. I think that they're part of the set. It looks like they're lit
Yeah.
in the same manner that the trees are lit. To me, or in a similar manner.
Could it? I
Definitely
was
in the
gonna
same
say
manner as the man-made cave or tunnel is.
when the Shinarans and Perrin are like traveling, do they have tents? They don't like pop up tents, right? They just like where do they sleep? Just on the ground?
They probably have tents.
So
I
it
think
could
that
be it could be that. It
Would
could
they put would they put lanterns in trees for camping for the night?
I don't know. I'm just
It looks more of like
spitballing
a
ideas.
semi-permanent.
Tent?
No, the location because of the way
No, I
it's.
know, but like
Yeah.
semi-permanent tents. I don't know.
Tom, any thoughts on this one?
no. I mean, the trees are gigantic, and between the trees and the lighting and this photo with like there's kind of um like a halo-ish image to the trees. It does give a little bit of a setting vibe, but
Yes, that's
I
what I was thinking of. The trees themselves seem very like, especially with the lanterns hanging in them,
but
get a
like
steady
that
vibe.
does not. It doesn't really look like. I don't know what I pictured like ogres living in, but it's not that. So I don't know if it is a setting or a former setting. I don't know why that would be the case.
The tent might not be part of production though. The tents.
Possible, but like that tunnely cave looking thing,
Yeah.
like I don't know. None of
Where do
it.
you see a cave?
To the right. There's that structure. It
It's
looks like
like
a
a
brick
tunnel.
stuck
To me, it looks like a
structure.
tunnel.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, it's like a trapezoid with a half circle in it.
I see.
So
Yeah.
yeah, but I don't know. I can't think of any other place that it would be. Um, unless this is, I don't know, like just some random, very very small village that someone travels to.
Hmm.
But you know what? Let's say it's a setting because I think there's a chance that we see one in this season,
Yeah.
and
It could
let's say it's
not
this.
be
That
for
works
Wheel
for
of
me.
Time too.
Hmm?
It could possibly be for another TV show or another movie or something like that. Um, yeah, I
Yeah, I
got
mean,
steading vibes from from
if
the
we
trees.
don't get a steading in this season, when would we get a steading?
There's really no
We could
reason
get
to
it
ever
anyway.
get like you don't need
Right.
to
I
put
mean,
steadings in the show.
but
Like they could exist, but you don't never ever need to go with it to one.
Yeah,
Is this a steading and that this is the edge of a steading and that's a an old school waygate? That cave looking thing.
yeah, it could be.
I don't know. There's all right. So this, I'll go to the other photo. Um, the other photo is captioned. It's a bit blurry, but looks like a match for the Kyrian and Rising Sun. Not sure if the street view from the same location though. So what we're seeing here is kind of the side of a building, and it's got like a kind of a arch above the door, and the arch looks like the rising sun. It kind of reminds me of the teaser footage we saw, the behind the scenes footage. Remember, there's the
Yeah.
woman walking, and it has that rising sun looking arch behind there.
Yes.
That's
Very
what this
similar.
looks like. And then there's two banners on each side of the door, and they're blue, and they look like suns on the banner.
They don't look like
Yeah.
rising suns, though.
They don't. They just look like almost full suns. Although the bottoms do look a bit flat. Like they look like 3/4 or 7/8 suns.
Maybe, yeah, not the same as the half sun.
It's not the half sun, yeah. And then there's another picture too of like a village or like a street in a village that looks similar again to some of the behind the scenes footage. Remember when we saw Rand walking with the torch in the street that we thought
Hmm.
possibly could be Kyrian, maybe the Foregate or something like that. Is also an
Yeah.
image.
Also the explosion-y part of that footage.
Yeah. It looks to be built on a set too, right? Because look at the.
Yes, this looks all set,
Yeah.
which matches what we heard from Donald that Carrion is a set.
That's true.
And he talked about it as like the sets were very impressive.
That is true. Are you impressed by these? Do you have any thoughts?
I think it looks good. I mean, it's a very small picture.
It is
I
very
can't see
small.
much. Wait, when you said the person walking with the rising sun, you're talking about the person with the long gray hair?
Yes.
Isn't that more in like a garden kind of a place?
It is, but there's right and right behind that person or in front of that person is like the same image that we see in this picture on the left.
Okay.
On the top of the door frame,
Yeah.
It's the
right?
same. Okay.
There's that like that triangle with like the spoked rising sun.
Yeah, it
kind of
almost
thing,
looks
and
like you're
that
right. It looks like a
image was
wheel
in
slash
yeah.
rising sun. Yeah.
So I don't know if this is the same one, but that symbol could be like a motif for this building or all in Carrion or whatever. Like that could all be like that's the symbol of this estate, and like you saw that person walking in the gardens, and this is the front door or whatever.
Okay.
But, yeah, I mean, we know now definitively, and we've known that for a while that they're going there. So it's not like I guess it doesn't like sizzle and pop for me.
Yeah.
But I think the set these photos look really good. And I think that we'll see some very impressive sets in season 2.
Yeah, there's nothing I can glean from these that like indicates any specific storylines. It's just, structures, sets. There's no people on them, and there's no props that kind of tip me off as to anything that could be there. But yeah, cool. So if you want to check those out and actually see them, I'll put the link into the What Up video so you can go check them out for yourself if you haven't seen them already. And I'm going to move on to our next piece of news. So The Telegraph, which is an Indian publication, reported that at Comic-Con India's Delhi chapter, it was announced that season 2 of Wheel of Time would be released in early 2023, which was very exciting and I think set off a lot of alarms for people. And everyone was like, early 2023, what's that? Blah, 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 trying to figure out dates. When I went today to go pull the article for the show, I noticed they had redacted the early and just says scheduled to air in 2023. So I will ask this question. Do you think they redacted it because it was wrong or because they were told to redact it?
I feel like if it had really been announced at a Comic-Con, more people would have posted about it.
Mm-hmm. So you're
And
saying it
not
would have
just like
gotten out.
one random
Yeah.
newspaper or whatever.
So you think somebody's just misinterpreted it when they wrote their article, put early in there, and was like, oh, no, wait, nobody said early. I got to fix that.
Yeah, I
Or
think
maybe it
so.
could be the same argument that we had about like when we at first saw the article about like what early means, right? Because to me, early means June 30th or before,
To
as
you,
in
early
not the
means
second half of the year.
5 o'clock in the morning. To me, early means 9 o'clock in the morning.
Well, yes, that's also true. But like, I'm just saying that I feel like if as long as you put it out before the third quarter starts, like that's technically early in
Oh, you
2023
mean before
because it's not
before the
the back
half?
half of it,
It's the second
right?
half. So there's
Yeah,
no mid. It's just early and late. There's no mid.
you could say that. And so, but you could also go early 2023 is Q1 2023,
Yeah,
or
January
the
through
first 2
March.
months of 20.
I
So
would
like,
even go so far as to say early 2023. If we broke it down into early, middle, and late, right? We could say 4 months, right? So January through April would be early. I'd go that far, but I wouldn't go as crazy to say May or June is early 2023.
okay, yeah, and I don't have a strong sense one way or the other about what should be considered early or not. But like the fact that I think that they could be arguments for different interpretations of that phrase could lead them to go, hey, look, you know what? Just take that out. It's coming out in 2023. We don't want to get anybody's expectations because we meant May or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and we're not ready to say May yet. So just take it out, you know?
Or this now, Jen, to kind of play devil's advocate against what you're saying, right? It's not necessary that an announcement was made that this reporter or somebody could have spoke to somebody on the show and they let slip early 2023 and they weren't supposed to put it in the article. Like they might have said, yeah, it's going to be out early, but don't say that, or nothing's official yet. So I could argue that, but I don't know. I don't know if I feel confident anymore that they removed that. Um, I'm still I'm still pulling for March, April, which would
I
fall in the early.
I feel like at this point, any newspaper could just write something like that, just to like get people to start talking about it and reading the article,
Hmm.
and then just like pull it, pull the word early like a week later.
You
Just,
think this
oh
was
no, sorry, I
a
didn't mean to do
publicity
that.
stunt that the
It could be,
Telegraph pulled to draw in viewership
could be.
by picking a not even very popular prime television show?
It's popular to us.
It's, you know,
It's middle ground,
is that
popular.
is that unpopular?
It's not unpopular. That's true.
That should be their slogan. Wheel of Time. It's not unpopular.
I'm a football star.
All right. Moving on to our
Popular.
last bit of news, and it's
On the
really just
Wheel
a heads
of
up.
Time.
By the time this comes out, it will have actually been over, so you'll probably know more about it than we do at this point. So the aforementioned piece of news that Dragon Mount was announcing on their rewatch party when they did What Origins this past Monday, they had two announcements, right? One announcement that was big and one announcement that was really big. The first announcement that was big was that they're going to continue to do their rewatches of various fantasy, I guess, sci-fi television shows. So they're continuing their Monday live streams. But their big announcement was that they have an interview with Rafe Judkins that's going to be airing, or I should say airing, streaming on YouTube at 12:30 Eastern Time on Saturday, December 17th, which will have passed already by the time this episode comes out. So very excited for that. I don't even know why I can't even keep talking about it, because anything I say about it's going to sound dumb because most people have watched it already. So
No, you know what we do? Let's just talk about it right now, as if we had listened to it.
let's make predictions, quick predictions. So this way we
Right.
sound really
But no,
stupid.
let's make them like they actually happened. I
Okay.
can't believe Rafe actually said whatever.
Okay.
I can't believe Rafe addressed the camp a cave controversy finally.
Don't toy
I
us here, Jen.
cannot believe that he specified that the cave was inside the camp and finally cleared that up once and for all.
Yeah. the fact that he actually brought a map out to show where the warder's tents were located in comparison to the cave.
Yes, and all
and how
the
the cave was
wards.
centralized between.
Yes.
Yeah, it was really. I mean, I know probably you weren't really satisfied with it because like the kind of curved trapezoid sense of like the encampment really didn't make sense from a strategic point of view. But at least they had a theory in mind. I thought that was really impressive.
I can't believe that they decided to make Masima a cannibal. It's a bold choice. Sorry, people.
It's
Let's move on
really,
because
I think,
let's move.
to show Perrin the dangers of his animal instincts. It's a choice. They're really, I feel like every season are going to be doing something really controversial and probably a little bit nonsensical just to further Perrin's storyline.
I'm going to move on because, again, we'd like to finish our journey into Origins of the Wheel of Time. So next week, we'll be talking all about the Rafe interview, assuming he says anything that's going to be interesting.
I bet he'll say nothing interesting.
I'm kind
Not
of betting
one
he'll say nothing.
interesting thing.
I'm betting he's not going to say anything interesting either. But it wouldn't surprise me if he gave us like one little thing. Like I feel like Rafe is going to feel obligated to give us something, even if it's something small, because he knows how we can take something small and turn it into something big and enjoy it and savor
That's
it.
what
Kind
she
of like
said.
we're like the eelfin and alefin of the Wheel of Time television show.
True.
We just feed off of any kind of bits of information. The savor, yes, Rao, the savor. We savor it. So
I do think, all joking aside, because I think that there's a decent possibility he says like What Origins is going to come out on whatever date.
no.
Yeah, I think
Oh, the feed went out. I can't believe it. Oh, no, we didn't hear the
Like
day.
I feel like that's the kind of thing that he can give us now.
It's true. You're right. He could give us that. We'll find out tomorrow. All right, let's move on. We want to wrap up our journey into Origins of the Wheel of Time. We were in the middle of going through letters N through Z. We had covered a lot of the early stuff. We jumped into the letter S. I think we covered a couple of pieces of things. So let's go right back into where we left off. I'm going to call on somebody at random to pull something up. So Jen, give us something you found interesting and worthy of discussion on this podcast.
I wanted to talk about the Ring of Tamerlane.
Ooh,
just because I thought something was funny in here.
Go for it.
Let me just see where I should start reading. Okay.
Oh, sorry, Jen. You threw me off because you didn't read the entry name properly.
Tamerlane, comma, Ring of.
Thank you. Now I can find it.
Okay. It's after Tamerlane. I'm just going to read the whole thing because it's funny. The titular jewelry of H. Warner Munn's 1974 fantasy novel Merlin's Ring bestowed a supernaturally long life on Merlin's godson. Jordan, building Tamerlane for Merlin, nodded at this. If he was also making an indirect reference to Timur, a ring could fit here too. There's a legend that Timur had a calligrapher named Umar Akhta, who wrote the Quran in such tiny letters that the entire text of the book could fit upon a single ring.
That's insane.
When this feat failed to impress Timur, the calligrapher created a copy of the Quran that was so large it required a cart to hold it. A few 7-foot-tall pages from this copy have survived and are on display in the Metropolitan Museum of Art in New York City. I just picture me like, oh, you can't see that? Can you see this, asshole? Can you read this?
It's so
Is it
tiny.
big enough for you?
Who can read this? Oh, I'll fix that for
Is
you.
a ring for ants? No. I just think it's funny that he was like, all right, fuck you then. Now you have to wheel my books around because I want to make sure you can read it.
I like how this is totally like off on a tangent, this entry here. because he
It
just
just made me
starts.
laugh.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
just starts talking about the guy Timor.
I was I was reading the first sentence and I was, whoa, a supernaturally long life on Merlin's godson Jordan. And I was like,
Oh
nope,
yeah, yeah.
that's a period.
I didn't know
There's no
Merlin had a
Jordan in the
godson.
yeah, I didn't. His
Who
name
was his
isn't Jordan.
godson? I don't know. I didn't look that bit up, but I can't
Um,
believe. But it's real. Like, so they have pieces of the 7 foot tall
Oh yeah,
Quran, but
yeah.
did no one, I guess, has a copy of the little ring Quran, the tiny ring?
I
it's a
imagine everybody
legend, right? But then he actually did the. How can it be a legend if the pages
because they don't have a
exist?
copy of it, and like the basically he said like the legend is, well, why did he write this giant one? Well, he wrote this
Oh, okay, I
giant one
see.
because he did
Oh
this
yes.
small one, no one gave a shit.
Yeah.
So
I
there's
think
no
it's pretty.
proof of
Yeah, I
it.
don't think
But
it's feasible that the entire Quran is written on a ring that could be
well, it
read.
could be a really big ring,
That's
like one of those
true.
4 finger ones.
It could be like a ring that fits around your neck.
Like a
I don't know.
signet ring, kind of.
Sorry.
You
Uh,
know?
Tom, you have something?
All right, so I'm gonna go to Pat and Fane because I don't know why, but like this never occurred to me. To feign something is to fake it, a fitting name for this dark friend peddler. Though originally named Eward White, sorry, he was renamed Michael Fane by the time Jordan was writing the test manuscript of The Eye of the World. It was in his review of this, though, that his first name was crossed out by pencil and changed to the now familiar Paddan. This final name derives from Paddan Aram, the land repeatedly mentioned in Genesis. According to the 4th century Jewish Midrashic interpretation of Rabbi Isaac, the region was populated with deceitful, wicked doers. Also see Aram. So I I almost like Michael Fane better because of like there's like a I don't know, I feel like there's like a duality there with like him feigning to be like on the side of the angels and with Michael being an
Mm.
archangel of
Do you
Fane, but this
It could
this
have
works
been
for me.
Meikle or Mickelthane.
It could be Mikkel, but that's not it's Michael. So
Mickelthane.
but yeah, I never got the Fane faking stuff. I don't know why.
Me neither.
Yeah, I never caught that either. I'm kind of I'm actually more curious about the origins of the other names, like Eward White. Like, why did he come up with that name, or why did he come up, like you said, Tom, with Mikkel or Michael or Meikle? I don't know if Eward White is any connection to that, but I like how he split. Then I wonder if the name, when he came from Pat and Aram, if he said, "Oh, I want to split this now and give Aram, create another character named Aram
Yeah.
to kind of split this guy up into multiple characters," because we see he did that previously with other characters like the Amerlin and Moraine and Galad, and splitting those characters up. I wonder if that was part of his thought process with this one.
Hmm.
Um, Interesting. All right, I want to talk about the snakes and foxes, specifically not the Aelfin and Eelfin, but the snakes and foxes. Let me jump over here. So, this children's game, in which victory requires the breaking the rules, reflects the Aelfin and Eelfin. Jordan based it on a variety of quote unquote fox games like Fox and Hounds. So I had to go and look up Fox and Hounds because I've never heard of this game. And I found multiple versions of Fox and Hounds. So there's an old Parker Brothers game that came out in 1948. And I'm going to read the description of this game. In this track game, one player becomes the fox and the others act as the hounds. The fox has the first move, spins the spinner, and advances along any path the number of spaces indicated. The hound then spins in turn, trying to capture the fox by landing exactly on the space the fox occupies. The fox is safe on the red trap, but must move out its next turn. If the fox can reach the fox's den space by the exact count before being captured by one of the hounds, he wins. Now, this is very similar to, if you watched that episode of the Dusty Wheel he had, I can't remember his name, but he was a game maker on, and he created like the Snakes and Foxes game. This kind of sounds very similar to that. But there's other versions that I found Um, one of them using a chessboard. I actually found a lot of this version of the game where it's used with the chessboard and chess pieces. So there are 4 hound pieces and 1 fox piece. At the start of the game, the hounds are placed on the dark squares along one edge of the board, and the fox is placed on the far corner opposite. And a hound can only move diagonally 1 step forward, and the fox can move diagonally 1 step forward or backwards. So it's kind of like the hounds are like regular checkers pieces, and the fox is like a king, kind of where he can move forward and backwards. The goal of the hounds is to surround the fox so they cannot move, while the goal of the fox is to escape. As the hounds cannot move backwards, once the fox passes through all of them, they've won. So that was a pretty cool game. I was like, oh, that sounds like fun. Interesting variation, just using chess or checkers pieces to create that game. But then there was this other game, another version of the game that I found that I thought was interesting. Um, divide into 2 teams, the foxes with around 25% of the players, and the hounds with the other 75%. Foxes are given either a whistle or a packet of flour, and a time limit is set, usually 10 minutes. Foxes are given a minute head start and told explicitly to either lay flour every 20 seconds on their journey or blow the whistle every 20 to 30 seconds. After the initial minute is up, the hounds are let out to chase the foxes following their path, and every fox tagged is out. The foxes
I was
win if
like,
any of
I'm
them is
sorry.
still active after the 10 minutes.
I think we should play this at Wacom. Chasing each other around the hotel with whistles.
I don't understand. I don't
Forget
get
about
it.
the flower. So you know where they are. So you chase, like tracking them.
But you're
So every
only
20
that only
seconds you have to blow a whistle.
but that only happens for the first minute.
Oh,
And
is that what
then
it
once the
says?
minute is up, then the hounds are let out to chase them.
Yeah.
Oh, so you just have to
Actually, I don't know if
listen
they
for.
stop though. Maybe they don't stop. Maybe they continue to blow whistles and lay
Yeah, that
flour.
makes sense because otherwise, well, forget about the flower. That's just
No,
like
this
another
is
way to
what
track.
intrigued me about it. That there's that it said it's given foxes are given either a whistle or a packet
Or a
of
bag of
flour.
flour.
Like what the hell?
Oh my God. That sounds fun. A little scary though, if you're the fox. People are like tracking you,
Yeah.
but I like that.
So yeah. So if anyone plays this game, this version of the game, please take some pictures and send them to us. I'm very interested to see this. Uh, thought this was fucking weird. All right, that was my obsession with snakes and foxes. Tom, Jen, you got something?
Um, I have, it doesn't really matter. I'm just picking one at random, but I realized that these entries sound like Jeopardy answers if you read them like that. Like some of them. It's
Okay.
like, so this is Wayland's Forge. It's like an inn near the border between Gildan and Morandi. Its name derives from tales of Wayland the Smith, which are present in several North European literatures.
What is
What is
Wayland's
Wayland's
Forge?
Forge? I don't know. When I was reading that one, I was just like, these feel like Jeopardy
We
answers,
should
the
have
short
asked
ones.
Michael Livingston if he was watching Jeopardy when he was writing
Yeah,
his entries.
he might have been. Especially when it says like Urian, an Aielman loyal to the dragon, he shares the name of a Welsh king. Funny.
If only
You
I
know,
just like
Maria
the way.
was watching Jeopardy when they were editing the book.
that's true. Tom, you have something in there you want to?
Yeah, I'm gonna go to the Rand, Thor entry. I'm not gonna read the whole thing, but there's a few things in here that I think are interesting. So, talking about where Rand comes from, there's a possibility that Jordan just likes the name, as there's a unpublished Western that he wrote with a hero named Randall. Another possibility, we can only speculate, is that Jordan took from Tolkien's Middle Earth in the Sindarin language of the elves. Randir means wanderer, which, Gandalf's name was Mithrandir, meaning gray wanderer, right? Reflecting his nomadic life. So I think that part is interesting. As And it goes into detail. I won't go into this part. You can read it yourself, where The Rand wandering around as a beggar, very, very brief episode in the later books, was supposed to be a much bigger plot line. His original surname from a later part of this entry was Althur, but Jordan changed this early to Althor, an exceedingly clever combination of King Arthur and the Norse god Thor, using the Arabic prefix of al, a definite article meaning the, and echoing the Welsh patronymic naming conventions, where ab means son of. Jordan's Althor can mean son of Thor, the Thor, and Arthur, depending on how one looks at it.
Obviously the Thor is there. I never thought until I read this that like Althor Arthur. I never made that connection, like the naming
Well,
convention.
there's a lot of King Arthur.
No, I
No.
I know that part, but I never made the connection of Althor and
Yeah,
Arthur because I just kept thinking Thor, Rand of Thor, or Rand the Thor, or Rand son of Thor.
I gotcha. Yeah, it's almost to me, it's almost like a subconscious kind of a thing there. The other part that I want to make mention is that obviously, while Thor and King Arthur are two big elements, there's a million other ones. And that Rand's wounds that won't heal are stigmata akin to the wounds of Christ or the Fisher King, again from Arthurian legends, which, that has what do you call it? That has a lot of elements that kind of echo through, with the Fisher piece from Shara, with Rand being tied to the health of the land. So there's just there's a ton of stuff in there. I just wanted to run through some highlights that I found particularly interesting.
Yeah, he mentions Randland in here too, which has its own entry, which is kind of funny. Because I imagine this isn't from the notes, right? This is just him talking about the like fan creation of the name Randland. But he's also talking about the actual land itself, the geography, and connecting the continents. The 4-continent landmasses: Afro-Eurasia, the Americas, Antarctica, and Australia. Australia is the Madlands. North and South America is Shanshan. And then, the Westlands, Shara, and the Isle Waste is the Africa, Asia, Europe connection. But I want to talk about something more fun. Steppen. This was a fun one, right? Our buddy Steppen from the TV show, who a lot of people disliked because he was put in the TV show. I did not know, and is this in New Spring that he was known to be an excellent guitarist? And if so, why wasn't it put in the TV show? Because I would have loved to have heard.
One excellent guitarist on the show.
It would have been awesome if they put Steppen and he played the guitar, because I had no idea. I mean, not that I ever thought about Steppen or even remembered him being a character until the television show, that he is John Kay, the guitarist from guitarist and frontman for the rock band Steppenwolf.
It's my mother-in-law's favorite band.
Your mother-in-law?
Yeah.
Okay. I only know like 2 of their songs, so.
I never heard of them until I saw Michelle's mom posting about them on Facebook.
You never heard the song "Born to Be Wild"?
Born to Be Wild. Yeah. That song? Yeah. Oh, I've heard that. I did not know that they sang.
Or Magic Carpet Ride. Those are the only 2 songs I could think of.
Okay, yeah, okay, I know that too.
That's Steppenwolf.
Okay.
Or a man step in the water, who apparently can jam on the guitar. But yeah, fun little piece there, and I was a little upset that maybe Rafe didn't know this information. That's why he didn't put it in the show. So, all right, Jen, you got something?
Yes, I would like to talk about Savannah.
Ooh, this is a good one.
I like this one. A wise one of the Shaido Aiel who unmistakably thirst for power. Her name derives from the city of Savannah, Georgia, only a few hours from Jordan's hometown of Charleston. Both cities have a great beauty, while also sharing a dark history as seats of slavery in the Old South. Perhaps it is for this reason that Jordan leaves Savannah in the end in the very chains with which she hoped to bind others. I like that. I
Do
never
you?
thought of Savannah when I was reading it, but
Oh, I thought of
I
Savannah,
like that a lot.
but I didn't make that connection, and I. It almost makes me wonder if Jordan disliked Savannah, Georgia, so much that he made this character
Well,
out
he's
of it.
probably just making a comment on the slavery, I guess, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, it is kind of fun how it comes full circle, and she winds up
yeah.
getting, enslaved, which makes me think that he didn't like Savannah, Georgia. But I don't know. I have
Yeah, but
nothing to go by
it's like
except from this.
yeah, you're it's beautiful on the surface. When you look deeper in, it's dark.
Oh yeah, I gotcha. Because Savannah is described as always being very
Yeah, with
beautiful.
her jewelry and her cleavage,
Always,
right?
yeah, busting out her cleavage everywhere.
Jewelry or cleavage.
I
It's
kind of picture
all you
Savannah
need to
as
be
like a
beautiful.
real housewife, like right.
Yeah,
Yes.
definitely.
Yes.
Yes.
If there were if
100%.
that show was around, that totally would have been in here. That would have
What
been
about
one of
like
Jordan's
she's probably
inspirations.
too old, but like Jennifer Coolidge playing Savannah.
Like Irene as Irene. He was just a big fan of Pootie Tang, and he
Or
put her
Stifler's
character in there.
mom.
Who's
Stifler's
she's
mom.
in
Yeah.
that? She's in Pootie Tang?
Yeah, she's
I don't even
Irene.
remember her.
This is kind of the character she plays, although not as maybe not that similar to Savannah the character, but. All right, Tom.
Um, I was gonna pick something, but I think I actually talked about that last week, so I'm trying to find something else. Sorry. Uh, um, sorry, dead space. Um,
You want me to go? I have one.
yeah, go for it, man. Sorry.
Okay, you look up one while I'm going for one. So I have the. I want to talk a little bit about the Tuatha On, the Tinkers, the traveling people. So I actually was doing some like real world digging into this because right. So I think it talks about in here um, his presentation of these people within the Wheel of Time is often connected to the Romani, often erroneously called gypsies in English, and certainly their wagons have this appearance. Just as equally, however, the author likely had in mind a similarly peripatetic people called the Irish Travelers, the largest population of Irish travelers in the United States living in Murphy Village, South Carolina, not far from Jordan's hometown of Charleston. I want to talk a little bit about that because I was like Irish travelers in America, so I thought this was interesting. So I did some researching in Wikipedia, and I want to wiki some of you about this. Uh, so they are predominantly English speaking, though many also speak Shelta, a language of mixed English and Irish origin. The majority of Irish travelers are Roman Catholic. They are one of several groups identified as travelers, a closely related group being the Scottish travelers. They are often incorrectly referred to as gypsies, but Irish travelers are not genetically related to the Romani, who are Indo-Aryan origin. So, by the way, I learned this by going down the Wikipedia rabbit hole looking at the Romani. Romani have been traced back to India, actually coming from India, which never knew that, northern India. Um, so genetic analysis has shown the travelers to be of Irish extraction, that they likely diverged from the settled Irish population of the 1600s, likely during the time of the Cromwellian conquest of Ireland. Centuries of cultural isolation have led travelers to become genetically distinct from the settled Irish, which I think that's a euphemism for inbreeding. Um, Traveler rights groups long advocated for ethnic status from the Irish government to secede. So it says they came over to the US and Canada. There are also some in the UK. So then I went specifically to look at the Irish travelers in the United States, and it says there are an estimated 10,000 people are descendants of the travelers who left Ireland. There are no official population figures because the United States, as the U.S. Census, does not recognize them as an ethnic group. Um, and they actually divide themselves into groups that are based on historical residents. So you have the Ohio travelers, the Georgia travelers, the Texas travelers, the Mississippi travelers, um, and again mentioning Murphy Village outside of North Augusta, South Carolina, which is the largest and apparently most affluent population. But yeah, I had no idea that there are these like pockets of Irish settlers who are kind of different from other Irish settlers, and they kind of live in these tight knit communities and don't really associate much outside, although they do a little bit, but just not as much. And they're kind of like their own little communities and own little cultures in like these little pockets of the United States.
I haven't seen the movie in a long time, but isn't Brad Pitt's character in Snatch a member of these traveling people?
Well, they call him a gypsy, but or well, they call him a pikey, which I guess is another derogatory term. But I have no idea if that's the same.
Yeah, they're like Irish things. That's why he wants. He wants a caravan. That's what he wants.
But is that is he supposed to be like one of the traditional Romani, or is he supposed to be an Irish traveler?
No, he's supposed to be these Irish traveling people
Okay.
that are so different that you can hardly understand their language. Yeah, I
Oh, so
think so. I
this
think
is
so.
this is
It's
the
been a long time since I saw them.
this is the oh my god, that would have been so awesome if they made it in the Wheel of Time. They all spoke like the pikeys in Snatch, where you couldn't understand anything they said. But yeah, I learned something new about our great country.
There you go.
So that's the and they obviously are kind of persecuted and looked down upon, and people don't like them. It's so weird because I was like doing some more research about them, and it's like very odd because you've got these Irish people who settled in the deep South, and they just totally different culture than the deep South. And they kind of got ostracized, and people in the South don't like them because they're Irish people living in the deep South, and they're very tight knit culture. And it was weird because they mentioned there's like whatever 2,500 living in this village, but they mentioned there's only like X amount of families, so the families are very large, and there's a lot of people with the same names because it's just like I keep wanting not to say the word, but there's a lot of intermarrying, so between in the culture because they
Right.
don't
They're
obviously.
a very
Yeah,
enclosed community.
yeah. So interesting. So uh, yeah, Tinkers. Who knew? Jen, you got something?
Yes. I just wanted to read one part of the Ogier. We didn't do that one, right? Okay.
I thought we did, but maybe we
Did
didn't.
we? I couldn't remember what we actually did.
Go
I don't
for it,
know.
Jen.
I'm just gonna read the part. This is his original notes. So they were very different. A mountain people, moderately short and very stocky, with big noses, men and women alike. Men wear full beards and hair very long. Quarrymen and stonemasons, most are. Practice ritual cannibalism in the fashion of the Maori. Other people look on them with a measure of horror for this. I don't think we talked about how they were supposed to practice ritual cannibalism.
No, you're right. We did talk about that for sure. I would have remembered us talking about
Yeah.
Ogier eating people.
I don't know what. Well, they don't eat people. They eat because right, because cannibalism is when you eat your
Well, I
own.
mean, eat other
It's like
Ogier.
Right.
cannibalism.
What? I didn't look this up, but what's the fashion of the Maori, the cannibalism? Like, when do you eat someone?
I don't know.
I wish I looked it up.
Yeah.
All right,
There's
move on to the
always
next one, and then I'll look it up.
there's
You look up
always
Maori cannibalism rights. Did we talk about the Sama Nisai last week?
we did not.
All right. So Jordan originally imagined that there was not just one eye of the world, but seven. Each of these would be associated with the seal of the boar, and the Dark One had tasked a group of red-veiled former Aiel to destroy them. While its concept of having multiple eyes was abandoned, the idea of the secret Aiel were not. Right? So I think that's notable because I think that it's been suggested that that might be something they're going to do on the show. Like
Have multiple eyes of the world.
the seal in the show looks to be the seal that was on the floor that was broken,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
right? And those are not things that could be like that was gigantic. And I don't think that Bale Doman has another one of those in the hidden panel in his boat, right? So maybe there's these actual seals are going to be in like similar locations, or not similar, like similar locations to the eye, but like also just giant floor bound pieces of stone that need to be broken. Now I don't know how that works with the end of the series necessarily, but
I
but yeah,
I
I think that's it. I People have theorized that that might be a path that the show takes.
I think that's such it doesn't sound like a drastic change by just changing the size of the seals, but it does because they become something that's like a fixed object to something that can be portable. And I think they're just gonna brush it off as to like, yeah, this was just one of the seals and it happened to be a big one, but there's other ones that are smaller and there's different size seals.
Yeah, I mean, obviously it changes the dynamic at the end, right? Um, in the last battle, but the only other time that I think it's like super duper, like I would miss it, is the part in I think it's the beginning of Lord of Chaos when Daim gives him one, he gives Ram one, and Rand's just like break it, break, and like he doesn't realize he's saying it out loud, and everyone's just looking at him.
I like the idea. See, this is one of those entries where I liked how it talks about like it's kind of like the evolution and early thoughts of Jordan and how he had thought possible ways that
Mhm.
the books could go, where there was going to be seven eyes of the world, and
Right.
these Aiel were going to be guarding all seven eyes and every time. And I imagine he liked the idea and then was like, wait, we're just going to kind of do the same thing over and over again though, like seven times, and maybe got was like, nah, we're not going to do that. We can't do that.
Yeah.
But I like some of the thoughts and ideas, so I'm going to use them in another way. And I like how he thought like that, how he like iterated, and we got to see some of those early iterations of the story. That's like kind of my almost my most favorite parts of this book. It's just seeing those early ideas and how they became the ideas that actually wound up into the books. So
Mhm.
cool. And Tom, the actual name Sama and Sai, what was it derived from? I think it says it in there, right?
It does. Hold on a second. It derives from Japanese meaning honored master.
Okay. So is that the dark one? He's the honored master.
Yeah.
Creepy. Very creepy. Jen, do we have anything about back to you on
It's
Maori cannibals?
it's too complicated for me to get into right now. It did happen. They did eat people, but there. I found conflicting reports about it, whether they just ate them for fun or if there was some kind of spiritual like ritual to it. So I think
Okay.
we'll have to save that for our cannibalism podcast where we really get deep into this. I don't want to insult anybody
Okay.
about their
I will
cannibalism.
I will move on then to an entry that shouldn't insult anybody at all. Um, and this one is Tarvalon, because I think this is a really cool one, and I like how he came up with this. So we had talked many times on this show, right? Especially about arguing about the pronunciation, whether it was Tarvalon versus Tarvalon. And I know Tom and I, and we're on the page of like Tarvalon because it's Avalon.
Mhm.
And obviously that is part of this where Jordan got it from, Avalon. And there's a specific phrase in the Arthurian mythology that Morgan Le Fay says in the Vulgate cycle, and I don't know if anyone wants to hear me read French,
Go
or I
for it.
can just read the English version, which is where the women are who know all the magic of the world. So this is Avalon, the island, right? So where the women are who know all the magic of the world. Makes sense that this would be Tar Valon. But that doesn't explain where he got the tar part from. I'm sorry, that's hard to say. The tar part from,
Harp,
which
harp.
actually came from a historical place, which was Glastonbury Tor, which is a prominent hill in Somerset, England, topped by the single remaining tower of a 14th century church dedicated to St. Michael, which I looked up on Google Earth, and it's a pretty cool looking hill with just a lone tower at the top of it. It's pretty. It's probably really cool to see in person. But if you have go on Google Earth and check it out, it's just like literally there's just flat land surrounding it, and then there's just a hill out of nowhere, and then this little tower on top of the hill. So that's where he came up with Tar Valon, Glastonbury, Tor, and Avalon. Tor, Valon, Tar Valon. Tor, Avalon, Tar Valon. And Tar means tower in the old tongue, so he kept that. And Valon means guard in the old tongue, so tower guard. And then
Right. So
also,
there's also a reference, he says, right to Minas Tirith.
yeah, in the Sindarin language, Minas Tirith means tower of guard, connecting it back to the Lord of the Rings, which is again really cool.
The
And it'd be
White
interesting
City.
now to find out like where Tolkien came up with Minas Tirith. Anyway, very cool. So I like that. I like the connections of the two things, putting it into one, and also kind of making it reminiscent of Glastonbury Tor being the tower, the lone tower on the hill, and Avalon, which is the island. All right, Jen.
Oh, I don't have any more. I keep flipping.
Um, Tom, you got
Hmm.
one, or otherwise I got a
Yeah.
couple more.
Okay, go ahead.
I'm
Do
going
the
to
ones you have.
Tamlin Al Thor. Though he originally named him Tamtrin in his notes, Jordan settled on the name Tamlin in order to echo the fairy tale figure Tamlin, who took something from any young woman who wandered through the enchanted woods in which he himself had been captured by the Queen of the Fairies, either one of her possessions or her virginity. These fairy tales are freaked up, folks. In the Wheel of Time, Tam similarly took something, the child read, from a woman he came upon in an enchanted place, Dragonmount. I like that a lot, and I had no
Yeah.
idea. I've never heard of Tam Lin. Um, doesn't seem like the kind of fairy tale you read to your kids before bed.
No, no. And I don't think Tam took anybody's virginity on the slopes of Dragonmount either.
You don't know that.
I guess I don't, Jen. You're right. I'm
You
sorry.
weren't there.
I spoke out of turn. I'm very glad that he changed the name from Tam Trim, which does I don't
Tam-
know. It sounds too much
Yeah.
like tantrum, right?
True.
Tantrum,
Tamtrin.
Tamtrim.
Tamtrin.
Sometimes I feel like he had the names and then he was like, this has to be a nickname, so I'll just add some letters at the end. Like Tom Drill. Like just why can't his name just be Tom? It's okay. You don't have to add letters at the end.
Because
Nobody
Tom
can you
drills
say
a lot of people.
it
Yeah, it does.
so Tom Drill is a nickname and Tom is his real name.
Yes, yes.
Uh
Tom drills is like
like does anyone ever say Tamlin in the book at all? They must, but
I don't know if anyone actually says the name. Yeah, the trim went over to Matt though. It went to Matt Trim.
Matt Trim.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
Matt likes to get some trim.
yeah, that's what I was. I
Why
laid that
we're
one out.
turning all
for
these
you.
into dirty things.
Yes.
Tom drills, Matt
Drill.
likes trim.
Right.
Jordan, we established, I think, in one of the earlier episodes with the guys from Barside Chats that Jordan was a sex fiend with his spanking
Dirty
and
old
his
man.
Crossing of
his-
the arms under the breasts.
his S&M and dominatrix type things. So
We'll have to find that bodice ripper that he wrote.
bodice ripping, a lot of bodice ripping going on. Uh, Jen, do you have something, or you want me to jump over?
No, you can. If I come up with anything, I'll let you know. I'm good though for right now.
Just I got two here that just like quick ones that I never kind of made the connection. One of them I'm ashamed of, and one of them I thought that I wasn't ashamed of. So I'll start with the one that I was ashamed of, so then I could leave you off with the one I'm not ashamed of. Trollocs is just a simple combination of troll and orc. Never thought of that. Never made that connection. Troll orc. Trolloc. Did you guys?
No.
Am I an idiot here or?
Nope.
I think I had. I
Tom
think
thinks
that
you're an
that.
idiot.
Tom,
But
No,
I
I don't think
don't.
you're an idiot, but I think I made that connection.
I have one
Just
now.
because like so many of
when
the
you're done.
Trolloc tribe names are other monster names.
Yeah, those were always
Those are like
obvious.
very silly.
Yeah,
I love them all.
Ghoul
I
and
didn't know
Daemon and,
that kobolds were
Daemon.
not only something from D&D until I read this book.
oh, there you go.
Kobolds.
The other one for which I'm not embarrassed about is Tavirin, which is literally veering of the threads of the lives around them. The veering.
Veering.
The veering.
The
Tavirin.
veering.
I did not get that one.
No, I did not get that at all.
Nope. Nope.
I liked it. I liked it so
I-
much that I'm talking about it right now.
I read it as Taverin when I first read it, and I didn't say Tavirin.
I used to say
maybe-
Tavaren.
or Taverin.
So Tavirin makes more sense. Makes more sense. The veering, Tavirin,
Yeah.
the veering of threads of the lives around them. Yeah,
All right, I have one.
go ahead.
Did we do Shail?
No, we didn't do Shail.
Okay. I like this because I just thought that like she was there and they were like, "What's your Aiel name?" And she went, Shail. But apparently there's more to it than that. So I'll just read her entry.
Yeah, you thought it was clever. Let's just put the sh sound in front of Aiel. Shail. She's like looking around.
The name taken by Tigraine Damodred among the Aiel is one of Jordan's most interesting constructions. Who would have thought? Its origin lies first and foremost in Tigraine's relationship to Shail Ghul. Her son, born upon a volcano, will ultimately confront the Dark One within a volcano. Her name would be a parallel to this and to its biblical origins in Sheol. But Jordan managed more. Among the names given to God in the Bible is El Shaddai, often translated God of the Mountains. By inversion and truncation, Jordan Shail echoes this too. Not that she is the creator, of course, but through her son, the creator's will would be done.
And born on the mountain.
Yeah.
So she's like a goddess of the mountain because she gave birth to the dragon reborn on a mountain.
Goddess of the
I guess just since you brought up Shail, I guess we should probably just connect that over to Tarangale Damodred, which is
Sure.
just so like blatantly and cookie cutter obvious, I guess, when you understand this, that because it derives from Mallory's, from the white goddess, Mallory's Duke of Tintagel. It was the Duke's wife, Igraine, whom Uther Pendrag seduced while in disguise as her husband, a trick of Merlin's magic, thus begetting the future King Arthur, who was born after the Duke's death. So the Duke, this guy, Duke of Tintagel, and his wife, Igraine, gave birth to Arthur. Oh, I'm sorry. No.
Yeah.
He didn't.
No.
It wasn't Tintagel, but it was Uther Pendrag.
Pendragon.
So
Right.
Uther Pendrag, I guess, would be Janduin in this instance. So that connects Tigraine to Igraine, who was also, right, Tigraine was also manipulated by a magic user, Guitarra Morosa, into abandoning her husband. Just like...
That's a weird take, but...
Yeah, it's a pretty straightforward connection, though.
No,
Igraine,
that she was
Tigraine.
manipulated by a magic user into abandoning her husband.
Yeah, she wasn't manipulated,
Yeah,
but I guess
It's
she
like
was
you-
influenced.
I don't know. Yeah, I guess.
She was
I don't know.
influenced by Guitarra to abandon her husband. Just as...
It's different than like hiding and like banging someone while in disguise.
Yeah, and
A
I
little
wouldn't
different.
say Janduin necessarily seduced her, but But it's a pretty clean cut connection, which I thought was pretty cool. I hadn't known anything about that. So, um, yeah, pretty cool.
I got Tarabon here,
Go
which
for
has
it.
much in common with the Ottoman Empire. After the taking of Constantinople in 1453, that city is the parallel for the beautiful port city of Tanchico, and the country's name is derived from the phrase "the Arab one." I
The,
just like that because I pictured that as Strong Bad saying it. Um,
is it just Robert Jordan being like, just right? It's the Arab one,
what's the name
and
of
then
what's the name of that?
eventually,
It's
like,
the Arab one. The
yeah, the
Arab one.
Arab one.
That's
What's the?
that.
And then he
That's
just eventually just
The country
called it
that's
that.
the Arab one. He referred to the
The
country as
Arab
the
one.
Arab
Yeah,
one, Tarabon,
yeah.
yeah, it's the Arab one.
the Arab
Yep, that's
owners.
it.
A lot of these names, you just like drunk saying them over and over, and then you
Sure,
get
yeah,
it. Like
yes,
murder
yes.
all, murder
That's
all.
right. That's our.
The Arab one.
It's our Tommy Boy. Yeah,
Yeah.
they were just high.
Roads.
Roads, roads, roads,
Roads. Murder all.
murder. Uh,
Oh, and so
oh, I've spit on my book. Look at that. Uh, can we talk? Let's talk a little bit about Tuan because there's a lot in here about her name, and that's partially because she has so many names. So Tuan, Athame, Kor, Pendrag. So Tuonela is the place of the dead in Finnish mythology, ruled by King and Queen Tuoni and Tuonatar. Kor is associated with the underworld, though in Greek mythology it's an alternative name for Persephone, the daughter of Demeter, goddess of Earth's fertility, who was abducted by Hades, just as Jordan's Tuon is abducted by Matrim Cawthon. The agreement was made by which Kor would spend half the year with Hades and half the year free in the world, was an ancient explanation for the changing of the seasons. Readers will recall that Tuon asked Matt to take her out to a hell in Matarin. That's a pretty interesting little thing there.
A hell?
Yeah, there's the whole thing where she wants to go to hell, which is like kind of like a reference to like a really shithole tavern
Oh, oh,
where
oh.
like, there's a lot, it's very violent and whatnot,
Okay.
and he doesn't actually
I
take
love
her
that
to a
Tom's like,
hell.
she's never been to one.
Yeah,
She has no idea what one is.
yeah. So
Just take her to a tavern, you idiot.
they just take her to like a, not as nice,
Right.
not a fancy tavern, like a middle class tavern.
Yeah.
Um, the name Atham reflects both her intelligence and leadership of troops in the field by echoing Athena, the goddess of Greek wisdom and warfare. Here's one I did not know. Her title, Daughter of the Nine Moons, derives from the 9 months of human pregnancy, indicating her association with fertility. The goddess most associated with this is Frigg in Norse mythology, the wife of Odin, who obviously is parallel to Mat, who she winds up marrying, and then just connecting when she takes the name Fortuona, Athem Devi Pendrag, reflecting both Fortuna, which is the Roman goddess of luck, and Devi, which is a Sanskrit word meaning goddess. So there's a lot of goddess in her name, which makes sense because she's the Empress of Shanchen, and they kind of have like a godlike status in there.
So isn't her first name Fortuona?
That's the name she takes when she declares
That's not her
herself.
name? Like
No.
it's not like
It's
her
weird though
her
because
full
her
first name?
name, because Tuon is in
Right.
Fortuona.
Yeah. That's
So
why I just thought that was like her full name, but she went by Tuan before she had to be like professional.
do you
No,
think
I think
that's
she
what?
changes her name or expands
That's
it.
weird.
Yeah, and it just happened
Okay.
to work that way because that's the way Jordan planned it.
I'm sure that the entire time Jordan was like, her eventual name is going to be Fortune because she's Matt's wife and whatever. Matt marries Luck, but like,
Yeah.
and that was a cleverly seeded thing the entire time. But yeah,
Mhm.
I love the constant like echoes of her being, um, some goddess of the underworld and of death and all the rest of that stuff.
But also a
Because
fertility. Like it's both. He's got both in there. So I guess that's the duality of Tuon. Although I never really.
it is, and I
Yeah.
think that, I mean, she's pregnant at the end, right?
Mhm.
Um, but Matt has those same kind of things where he's like this. He doesn't like this, but he's this avatar of death, right? And I like that she has this kind of. And I imagine if if those Outrigger novels were ever written, that duality portion of her, that like she's also a figure of new life and rebirth and all the rest of that stuff would play out more, right?
Mm-hmm.
She would lead a new Shanshan, who eventually, I would assume, would give up with the slavery. But
Yeah. Jen, do you have any more? Okay, we do one more round.
No, really.
I've got a couple more if you can't think of any
Go
more.
ahead. No,
Tom,
you go.
Tom, do you have before I
ahead.
go?
you go next.
All right. I got at least two more on my list that I wanted to talk about. One of them is the Sea Folk, which are based on Polynesians, which I don't know why I didn't make that connection for some reason. So I got this actually from the 13th Depository. Prior to contact with European missionaries, Polynesian women were bare-breasted and wore a wrap-around skirt, which is very similar to the Sea Folk, or exactly like the Sea Folk, and also a connection to Indian women with all the jewelry and the nose rings and the tattoos. So kind of a combination there between some Polynesian and some Indian influences there for the Sea Folk.
He also likens them to the Maori. Uh-oh.
Well, Polynesian is, I mean, Maori are Polynesian, so I don't know if there's any mention of sea folk eating each other, but
I don't think so.
But they sail on ships, and sometimes they might get stranded, and have to
what
eat
if they
each
don't
other.
have any food for a long time, and maybe they just eat the people that die of natural causes?
Yeah, that could be true. They just eat dead people. They don't eat
Right.
live people. They don't kill people. They
They,
just
right,
eat the dead
yes.
people.
They eat the dead people. I
They're just
eat dead people.
doing what they have to do.
Okay.
Tom, were you stopping us because you didn't want to hear us talking about eating people, or because you had something to say?
Yes, that's why I was stopping.
Oh,
Okay.
it's a touchy subject.
Tom had some bad experiences with cannibals.
Let's have some indigestion tonight.
I'm
having a friend for dinner.
One other thing too that I wanted to bring up, and the last thing on my list was White Cloaks. While we all probably made the connection to the KKK, there's also a connection to the Teutonic Knights. But also, the Taliban.
Yeah, it's surprising to me.
Yeah. Elsewhere, he similarly likened them to the KKK or the Taliban. While Freemasons refer to themselves as Sons of Light, it doesn't seem that Jordan had them in mind. He himself was a Mason, and the White Cloaks are really portrayed in a good light. Maybe, at the end, the White Cloaks become kind of a good force, so maybe they're KKK who turn into Freemasons.
Yeah.
Never made the Taliban connection, though.
Well, it's probably just like a group, like what he says, anybody that believes to know the truth with a capital T and wants you to believe the same. So maybe they didn't have like a specific connection to the Taliban, but just like in general, groups that are not the best.
Yeah, he said that at a book signing, actually, too. Interesting. Not the Taliban part, but the quote that you mentioned, Jen.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyone have anything else before we wrap it up?
I'm good.
I'm all right.
Steading? Anyone? Homestead? Never made that connection?
I don't think I did.
No? That's it. That's all I got.
Good. We are officially finished with the origins of
Does
the
anyone
Wheel of Time.
remember the last entry? I'll finish it up with the very last entry in the book.
ahead.
Let's do it.
Go.
Go for it.
Zomara, The mindless servants created by Agonar are zombies, but beautiful instead of rotting. I don't remember Zamara. What is Zamara?
They are servants. Morden uses them.
Oh, and like his dream shards or whatever.
Yeah. They don't talk or say anything. They creep everybody out.
There we go. Ending it on there with the Zamara. Beautiful zombies. Kind of like like one of those teen movies or something like that about zombies.
Yeah.
All right. We are done.
We're done.
We've made it through the entire Origins of the Wheel of Time. It only took us 6 episodes, which is pretty good. There were like 4 chapters, but the last chapter was very long, so that makes sense. Yeah, let's wrap it up here. I want to remind everyone to follow us on social media. You can follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. Join us over in Discord to continue the conversation there. Rate and review us wherever you listen to podcasts, and check out our merchandise and Patreon pages to support us that way. Links to all the aforementioned information is included in the show notes to this episode. I was going to say, go watch the Rafe interview. If you haven't seen it already, you can go watch it, but it was live on Saturday. So likely it's been seen already, but we're very excited to be talking about that next week. Hopefully there's some juicy little nuggets in there that we could sink our teeth into. Otherwise, we will be talking about something brand new. Guys, we're going to have to come up with a new topic for next week. Isn't that crazy?
Ouch.
Yeah.
It's
Right
gonna
before,
be like a couple of days before Christmas.
Right
So
before the
for-
holiday.
Maybe there'll be enough in the interview for us to talk about.
keep our fingers crossed.
Cross everything.
Any last words before we wrap
That's
it up?
all. No, one more
Happy
week.
birthday, Dad.
No,
Oh, happy birthday,
Happy
Mr.
birthday.
Kokoza.
and get your Christmas shopping done, everybody. One more week left.
And your Hanukkah shopping. Hanukkah started.
And your Hanukkah shopping and your Kwanzaa shopping.
That starts
and
like Monday.
Hanukkah didn't start yet, right?
I think it starts Monday.
I have the menorah at work. I have to twist the light bulbs.
Get
so
to
I've
that,
been
Jen.
watching. We have light bulbs instead of fire, so I've been paying attention to when it starts, so I have it accurate. Menorah at work.
Good job, Jen.
Yes,
Be safe.
I'll try.
Thanks, everyone, for listening. And you'll hear us next time.